He was for a long time.
For almost a year.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to an impromptu Sandbox stream with me, PandaPops. We have Alex here, and we have a new voice inside my head, which is Lucas. But we are joined by a super duper special guest from Atari. We have, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Tyler, director of Atari X, run blockchain for Atari, and love what we built with Atari Sunnyvale in the Sandbox.
All right, there you go, guys. So we have Tyler here. We are going to be having a chat about the game. We're going to be playing around in the game. We got fun questions. I am super nervous. I've never really done a proper interview thing, so this is going to be interesting.
Hey, we just had fun, right?
Yeah.
Must not proper.
Well, yeah, not a proper one. But it's just an informal chat discussing Atari and blockchain and that sort of fun stuff. So,
I've known Tyler for all of like 3 minutes now, and if anything, he strikes me as a real hard ass. So, yeah.
Oh no, I've got to be careful.
Yeah.
I've got to put my professional hat on because we're all professionals here. So let me get my questions up here right now, and so you've already told us about yourself, and Atari is obviously an absolutely legendary name. So how did you get involved in Atari? So what brought you down this road?
Yeah, not a traditional one. I think like most people in this space, especially on the business side, it's people from all walks of life. I know our team is pretty much as, I would say, random as it gets as far as our backgrounds and where we came from. I came from more of a tech and startup background. And then more specifically on the blockchain side, worked in 2015, 2016 with a few startups where we were talking more about crypto and Bitcoin and early days of Ethereum and Litecoin, more than the actual work we were doing in the early days of Slack. And so kind of continued that ever since. And then I was consulting for a few years. I've been at least a consultant for Atari for a better part of 2.5 years. So saw the entry point into Web3, the initial partnership early on with the Sandbox. And then I took over blockchain and Web3 for Atari in April of this year. And we've been building and launching some cool things since. So kind of a traditional background as far as tech to Web3. But as far as gaming goes, I've been a gamer my whole life.
Awesome.
I would say even almost pocket gamer at one point. It was in high school and in college, I played sports. I was a golfer in college and everything.
Oh wow.
And it wasn't necessarily that like I played games at every waking moment. I wasn't playing sports.
That's
Definitely not
relatable.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say like
And so- and-
morning and day with games. Like
Exactly.
all the time.
So to work in gaming is like a dream come true for me. So
I feel like
Same
we can all kind of relate to that. Like I say that, I don't know about you, Alex, but I know for me, like this for me is a dream job. Like being able to actually get up every day and do something I love and I'm passionate about is I feel like everybody should really work towards being able to do that. And I know it's not easy to find something that you're passionate about or to get into a job that you're passionate about. But
Sure. I know for me, like there's definitely a lot of hard work. I won't lie and say like, oh yeah, it's just easy. I play games all day, because even that, even like we judge the game jams that we do, and even that it can be tiring. You play games for 12 hours and you're like, oh my butt, like let's but I got to keep going because this, we got to get these scores in, for the winners event. So it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of hard work, but it's work that I enjoy. And I was just talking with Gatistau, who many may recognize from the chat, who's the leader of the Creator Fund. And I was just talking about how how rewarding it is to work in this. We've he and I, leading the Creator Fund, have gotten the chance to launch the careers of a bunch of artists in the crypto space. Not just on the Sandbox platform, but that has empowered people to get involved with other like NFT artwork and do other projects. They get to work with brands like Atari and our other partners at the Sandbox. Some of the artists in the Creator Fund have gone up to staff levels. So there's just there's been this huge opportunity, and sometimes it's you're doing all this hard work and maybe you don't feel like it all gets noticed because maybe you're in like a smaller job kind of in the background. I wouldn't even say he's the manager of like 250 artists, so I wouldn't even say it's a small background job, but it's just you kind of like hang back and maybe people don't see you as much because you're dealing with managers of artists instead of directly with the artists. But people do appreciate it, and every once in a while we'll get messages from artists in the Sandbox and builders in our community, people who are working in the game jams, and they tell us how much they appreciate what we're doing, and it's super rewarding to be in such a creative space and to be able to get to work with these brands like this.
Can I ask you? I want to know where most of the builders and creators come from. Do they come from a background of working with other software and creating, or is it usually is it an art background? Is what have you seen for the most?
I feel
Can
like
I take this one for a second?
Oh, go for it, Lucas. I was gonna say from my experience, but yeah, you go for it.
No, I was just going to say that it's the greatest thing about the way that this is set up is that a lot of these people don't have a previous background in like game design. It's people that have wanted to their whole life, but they didn't have that coding background, so they felt like they couldn't be a part of it. And because of the
there
no
wasn't
coding
an entry point.
Yeah. And with this low barrier to entry, people feel like they can at least start off somewhere where they can start learning the basics to get the knowledge they need to actually make a career out of this. So the background of people that are here is so widely diversified, which makes it just that much more exciting.
I mean, just looking at the Creator Fund alone, we've got people from, just coming out of college, or even the ones still in college. We've got people that are just starting their careers. We've got people who are in their 40s and up working on stuff. So we've got all sorts of ages, all sorts of different backgrounds. It's really, portfolio based. So people submit their artwork and we assess what they're able to do. And we're not looking, at least with the artists that we bring in to work with us, we're not really looking at a resume per se. We're not saying, oh, you need to have so many years with a game design studio, you need to be have this much experience. We're just looking for talent and the ability to work with others. And so we've got people of all sorts of backgrounds, and that's like on the staff level, almost. Like that's not even talking about just the wider community, what we see people do in the game jams, what we see people doing in the VoxEdit contest. Panda runs the VoxEdit contest.
The vans,
so
I run
she
the
gets to
van.
see all those. The van,
Yeah, I run
the Panda VoxEdit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm making some new Spoin memes here. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, no, for me, I always think it's loads of different people from tons of different backgrounds. Some people have had that sort of background where they've done some sort of graphic design and they've had the experience to be able to maybe understand the software a little bit more to create. For me, I had never done anything like it. Somebody said from the community, because I'd bought some land, they were like, hey, load up VoxEdit, try and, you know, do some stuff. So I did, and it was fairly intuitive, not as intuitive as it is now. I feel like it's easier to use now from when I first started, but that could also because I've had experience with it.
it's both. Like you do learn, and once you start learning, you're able to learn the new stuff faster. But we've also, because when you joined, I mean, that was still, what, 2 years ago now?
2.5, 3 years ago, I think.
VoxEdit was still in alpha back then, and now we're like well into the beta of VoxEdit. So the software has changed immensely. If you go back and watch, I don't think you can even find them anymore. I'm pretty sure I hid the old tutorials because people were watching them and like, oh, what about this thing? And I'm like, that tool doesn't even exist anymore. But yeah, if you're able to find any old videos of VoxEdit, maybe some of my really old live streams, it's changed so much, and there's been a lot of good improvements there. It's been a learning process for everybody.
As someone who has absolute zero artistic ability, that was definitely taken by my sister.
She stole it from you. Just slap the crates at you.
I've been in, I played, like, I was actually able to, I was actually able to do stuff. I mean, it was like stick figure level, I would say. On a scale of 1 to 10, it might have been a 1.2. But it's still fun, and it allows creativity, which I really enjoy. That's an outlet that I don't think enough people get, is showing that creativity in ways.
Yeah.
So I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's been kind of the whole renaissance of Web3 in general, right? Like, we're seeing people being able to create in ways that weren't available before, even using, like, you know, AIs becoming such a big thing, and procedural generation. It's allowing people who are, like, you know, more on the tech nerdy side of things, who maybe don't know as much about design, but they're finding ways to be creative in a way that they understand.
That's 100% me. Really cool. I'm just like you. My older brother stole all the artistic talent in my family, and then it skipped me. And the little brother took the rest. He took like the painting and the sculpting, and the older brother took the music and the drawing and the paint. Everybody else got it, and I didn't get any. But I've always been jealous of them being able to create art. And like Alex was saying, with the AI art side of things, and there's a lot of different tools available in Web3. I've had some creations that I was actually really proud of.
Yeah, no, I love the AI tool, like generators. I've actually, it's kind of taken me, like, I felt like I did like I'm big into just messing around with the text to image AI generators that have been popping up recently. Mm-hmm. And so I've actually learned like a lot about the history of eras and what it's actually called, just so I can try to reproduce things in certain artistic styles. So there's cool aspects of it for sure.
Awesome. You mentioned earlier about, you know, liking gaming and stuff. So what is your favorite Atari game that you've played?
Well, So here's a fun thing, and this is something I always Atari is like the Nirvana T-shirts of gaming, right? So
that's a great way to put that.
So perfect.
You go to Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and you walk around. You'll see like 5 Atari T-shirts. You'll see 5 Nirvana T-shirts. You walk up to some of them. Maybe I won't be ageist here, but you walk up to some and be like, "What's your favorite like Nirvana song?" And they won't be able to name one. Maybe they'll be able to name "Smells Like Teen Spirit." So I'm gonna put you guys on the spot a little bit. Name two Atari games that are actually owned by
Adventure Missile
Atari.
Command.
Oh, right. I already
What was
know.
the first one you said, Lucas?
Adventure was the first one, and Missile Command was the second one. And then after that, I'd say Sword Quest, and I'd have to go with Fire World first. So yeah.
Lucas is
a resident Atari fan.
Yeah, Lucas was the wrong person to ask.
He made up for everyone. No one else has to answer that.
But,
Well, Missile Command would be one of mine. I've had the chance to play that on an actual arcade machine, and that one's a ton of fun. The problem that I have is I have played games on Atari, but because Atari was such a bigger console than just its own first party games, I remember a lot of games being Atari that are actually like, Namco Bandai or other ones. People always say like Pac-Man, like that's not Atari.
Yeah, that's.
But it was played on the 2600, and arguably the best game of the Atari on the Atari 2600 console was Pitfall. And everyone always says like Pitfall, and I'm like, that's Activision. We can't get close to that one.
You're not a real Atari fan.
You just start ringing a shame bell. I feel so bad because I can only say 2 Atari games that I've played, which is Centipede on an arcade machine at EGX. They had retro gaming machines, and I was so happy to play that. And my late granddad, actually had an Atari, and I remember playing Pong with him. And I know that's old school and everybody knows it, but that is my first memory of playing games with my granddad on that Atari. With my uncle who was 8 years older than me, so perfect age to play games with my 12-year-old uncle as a small tiny child who's playing Pong.
So funny enough, Pong was the very first game I ever tried making. When I was in middle school.
That's a common one, because it was also the reason why it's one of the first ever video games.
Right.
Home video games is because it's just a simple concept, and it can be, it's great. That's actually that's awesome.
So fun little fact here. My father he's kind of a hard man, and he's not a very emotionally warm individual. Some of my very first fond memories with him are him and me sitting there playing Missile Command together, just sitting there in awe, watching him play as he just mowed level after level, or just mowed through the game itself, and it's just being so amazed because my child hands couldn't comprehend what was going on the screen, so I could never get that far. And just watching him play, those are some of our first moments where we actually bonded was over Missile Command. I
think Missile Command is one of the coolest looking ones. When I think about all the ones that are in the Atari Hub, I've played a few of them. I've played either Centipede or Millipede, and I don't remember which one I played in a retro arcade.
Centipede was more common.
Yeah, I've only seen one Millipede consoles, and I've seen hundreds of Centipedes over the years.
And fun fact about Centipede is it had really the first known female game developer. She co-developed Centipede, and it's actually funny because even back in the 70s, it was late 70s. It was known it was one of the first ever female gaming competitions was Centipede, and so it's kind of carried on through the years. So that's a cool little Centipede fun fact.
Yeah, I love that.
You said competition. What kind of competition?
Like they used to run straight up competitions where they would invite, or there were 200, 300 entrants, and you would see who get the high score.
You mean playing the game? I thought you meant building their own games. That's awesome.
Origination of esports, for sure. Yeah,
Atari's always ahead of its time.
Oh, you should see some of the merch from back then for these competitions. You would get game patches. I mean, you get patches.
I've seen those. I love them.
My dad has a few. So my dad was a pilot, and he actually has his old flight jacket. And on his flight jacket, he's got a couple of the Atari patches that he won from when we went to play a Missile Command contest. And it was at the local gaming arcade or whatever. That's so cool. Yeah, I remember that Wow, that's crazy.
I would feel so that's where I'd feel like if I was to get one of those, I'd feel like one of those Nirvana t-shirts. Like I love Nirvana, but I know the meme of like, not knowing who Nirvana is and wearing a Nirvana t-shirt. I'd feel like, it's like stolen valor almost to wear an Atari patch.
We'll be bringing some back just for fun.
Yeah, bring the patches back.
We can
bring the patches
We've
back.
got those denim jackets.
We do.
We got those denim jackets in New York City for the Sandbox.
I've got it
They would look so good with an Atari patch on them.
Yeah, just keep rubbing it in.
I wish I prepared more, but I would have definitely been wearing my Sandbox. I love that black jacket I got at the NFT NYC.
Oh,
you got one
too. Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Was it did you get the denim one or the windbreaker?
I got the windbreaker.
Okay. Yeah, but both were good. The denim one was super cool. You've got yours right there.
If you could ask anyone, I wear denim jackets nonstop, so I'm actually a little bummed about that one. I'll have to find one. So,
we'll need to get somebody to make a second edition of those.
Yeah, but they were by the uniquely guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hit them up. Let's do a Atari X Sandbox jacket. There we go.
Uniquely.
You don't have to tell me twice.
we'll like X everything. It's got to be uniquely makes it, and then like Sandbox Atari.
Yeah. Well, I'll email after this. Let's set this up. Let's do it.
We need to.
I have the contacts.
That's actually why we named our Web3 initiative Atari X. Is X is used, Mutable X and others within the space. But we realize that our partnerships are important, and we're working with some of the best people in the space. So we always kept seeing Atari X Sandbox, Atari X Zed Run, or
Artifact.
Atari X Artifact. And so we were like, why don't we just do Atari X and build it into as building our partnership ecosystem overall in web, and that's what Web3 is about. Is bridging these communities and bring people together. So that's actually where the name came from overall.
I love that. That's awesome.
Well, I didn't answer what my favorite game was.
Yeah, you skipped over. You're like, I don't have one. I gotta deflect.
So my favorite game is a unique one. It's actually it's me and my CEO. We have a newer CEO. He's been with us for a year and just taken Atari brand back to what it was in gaming and really just a love for gaming and fun experiences. Great guy. His name's Wade. And it was funny, for one of our first conversations, he asked that question as well. And I told him my favorite game, Atari game, and he said that's my absolute least favorite Atari game.
Oh, no.
Is it E.T.? Is it E.T.?
No.
I don't think that's anybody's favorite.
Letters from someone who I cannot talk about in public. Every time we bring it up in writing, we get some type of "don't talk about this. You're not allowed to talk about this." I've seen them. I've gotten them. So that's the he who should not be named game.
We're gonna get him in trouble, Panda.
Okay. Well, what non-Atari game is your favorite?
No, it's an Atari. It's no, E.T. is that. You're not allowed to talk about E.T.
Okay.
That's the big no.
Oh, we'll drive past it. Yeah, no, it didn't exist.
Which means it's off limits, so it means everybody wants to talk about it.
That's right. I want to talk about it. It's still buried in a desert in New Mexico. If you don't know about that, that's worth a Google.
Yeah, it's true too. I always thought that was like an urban myth, but that's absolutely true.
It is true. But let's move on before we get somebody in trouble here.
Lunar Lander is my favorite game by far, and it's therapeutic. I still play it all the time, which is it's therapeutic for me.
I've played like the PC port of that.
Yeah, it's weird because it's a physics-based game, and for me, that just does it. It's the only game like that I like that. Otherwise, I'm more the action side of it. But for me, it's all about Lunar Lander, and then Centipede's probably my second favorite after that. But
there was on the old Nokia phones, they came out with right after they came out with Snake, they came out with a version of Lunar Lander, and it was, like you said, it was physics-based, just like the original, and it was so much fun. I used to spend hours on that.
It's great. We're thinking of ways to use Lunar Lander. That's what I'll say there, or reimagine or recreate or.
Love it.
Yeah,
and I have
that.
no idea what you're on about, so I'm going to be Googling that later.
It's just like imagine simulating the moon landing on like a 2D plane.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you got like a moon surface, and you got the lunar lander, and you're trying to not crash.
Oh.
It's one of those games where if you're playing it, like you get a little sweaty because it's just so like technical. But then if someone is watching you, they're literally asleep right next to you. Everyone else is just like, this is the worst game ever. You're like don't mess this up. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you like lean on that thruster too much, then you just you rock it off and you're done. Like
and you're dead. You're dead. Yeah. It's like that consequence. You really feel it sometimes. We need to bring some of that more death consequences back into gaming. I'm kidding.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. I'm working on 2 different things with that, but I can't actually say any more than that. But
that's a tease. You're just I'm doing something, but I can't tell you.
Well, okay. Well, so the issue that we have in the sandbox is that when you're fighting like a really strong boss, and you die, there's not really a lot of consequence. So some people have introduced like lives systems, or you could get a game over if you die. But I'm trying to come up with some ways to make the fights more meaningful. So if you do die, the consequences are more than just a simple game over. That there's more depth to it, and some more just interesting things can happen.
One random NFT gets burned if you die.
Oh, that's mean. You can't do that.
There's actually a game. I don't remember the name, and I'm not gonna mention it because I don't want anybody to get in trouble. But there was a game that you could download that would delete a random file from your computer if every time you took damage or something like that. Which is a great way to destroy your computer. So.
or a great way to hide a virus and steal.
Yeah.
I love the concept. I would play.
on a burner computer, right?
On my main one that has.
You gotta have those consequences.
You don't get any reward without the risk, even though I have no idea.
Yeah. Talk about getting sweaty. Did I back up all the baby pictures? I don't remember.
You got tons of them.
Yeah. Just have another baby. It's fine.
Oh, I can imagine how that conversation goes. Honey, you gotta have another one. It's gotta look exactly like the other one. Right, questions. I've got questions. I'm too busy trying to get the points of interest. I thought I had enough time.
I'm just trying to chase you with the delay because I can't.
Actually, I did want to ask about this. If you're able to comment on this, on the little, in each area, there's a little black portal that says insert coin.
Yep.
What can you tell us about that? Are they, is there anything you can say about those?
There's one you can go into now. And
Shut up.
No, that's real.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Crystal Castles. So in Crystal Castles, that is the first one of what those will be. So those ones will have further experiences. So if you go into Crystal Castles right now, it feels like the original Crystal Castles game, obviously within the sandbox. And this is our first go at it, where there's different levels and you go through and Bentley Bear is there. You actually kind of create Bentley Bear out of yourself with wearables.
Cool.
As you go through the levels, and it's pretty cool. And so this is just one of what those will become. Some may have NFTs that you need to open them. Others will be like Crystal Castles, and for the first one you could just experience it. Maybe other ones you'll have to find something or earn something in order to get access to it. But these will be games, experiences throughout. The next two are cool, are awesome actually.
The next two we're not seeing those in season 3, are we? I don't remember.
No.
Yeah,
So,
we'll have to wait for season 4 on those.
Mm-hmm.
Or will there be an Atari season? Can we just have an Atari season?
Yeah, I told Seb that the other day. We're just taking over the season.
Maybe.
I mean, if you're asking me, I'm going to say yes, there can be, but I have zero authority. So,
well, with the game jam we have running right now, I mean that there would certainly be a lot of content for it. Do we want to talk about the game jam that's going on right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a game jam.
Let me see if I can pull up the Medium article. I'll talk about it. So we announced this on a previous stream. What was that?
It's in our chat.
Oh, you've given it
the Alex stream chat.
Lucas was ahead and already pulled up the link for me. Let me grab that real quick.
I was going to say, if it's in the chat, I can...
Yeah, and I want to say, like, to start, we love game jams, and we love these. We own a lot of land. I think right now we own 974 parcels of
just
land.
A little bit.
I expect you to use all of them.
Just a few.
But that's the thing. We want to. Obviously, we can't use all of them by next year, even, right? Or even 2 years.
It's a lot of space to develop. Yeah, you're talking about like open world RPG, like amount of space.
Atari Sunnyvale is a 2x2 plot, right? And that has 17 different IPs throughout it. So, like, that's a lot. So we're going to be tapping into the community, running a lot of different competitions, things like that. We're working with a couple others to figure out really what that looks like and how it can be expansive and immersive and everything like that. I'll go into that later. But this build competition, that's why we love it. Like, we want people to be using our IP to build the experiences. Learn about the origins of gaming from our perspective and some of the cool things that Atari was innovating back in the 70s and 80s. Like, little known fact, Atari basically created the internet. That's
elaborate.
I want
to know more about this story.
They were partnered with a company called GameLine. And they were trying to do high scores and also in arcade machines, like instant data about usage of the arcade machine. So, like, the coins that were used, the amount through the blockchain now, which is
almost like Internet of Things, but
Internet of Things, all through phone lines.
The 80s.
So high scores in your name could be transferred through phone lines to a database that can aggregate them and have a global or a US leaderboard for all games. And they were working on, and also downloading games. They wanted you to be able to download games through GameLine because it was like this desktop box that went through phone lines. Atari went through a couple changes in the 80s and late 80s, and with the initial video game crash in 83, and GameLine separated from Atari. And then a few years later, changed their name to American Online. And as we know, as AOL, or the internet, was created. So close, but no cigar on that one. And then we had a VR headset early on. I was actually, we're still working on projects with Nolan Bush now. And he was telling me about the sound. They were trying to change visuals with sound in a more video game way. So any external sound would change the video game and the waves. So they were trying to innovate in every way. They had a holographic handheld device, which turned later, 10 years later, was Nintendo 3, or 20 years later was Nintendo 3DS. So they were innovating in different ways. So we're trying to bring that all to this new space, and a lot of those themes on what we do. So we love these game jams, and just from a creativity standpoint, and believe that we have some good source material that could be reused. Because we had some of the best artists in the world working on Atari stuff back then. And we even had comics with DC. We had 6 comics with DC, which is awesome.
Wait, which comics did you have with DC?
The Atari comics. But there was a Centipede
all
comic.
of Lucas's nerd sensors just triggered.
Yeah, there was a Centipede comic.
He's like, I'll be right back. I'm running to the store right now.
It's all the artists that were working on, Batman and Superman. It's actually really cool. and I'm gonna actually get the other ones wrong, but yeah, just take a look. Then there was Atari Force, which is a cool like Atari superhero thing that kind of got lost in space over time. So
I remember Atari Force.
Yeah, no, so cool stuff. Game Jam though, excited about it. Basically,
yeah, I did share the link in the chat to that Medium article.
I needed you to share that so I could bring it up on my screen, because if I went off of the Discord chat, your faces would disappear. So,
that's how Discord works, right?
Yeah.
It's just face melts every 10 minutes on Discord.
Oh, you have the same new tab thing that I do.
What new tab?
The cool thing working in the sandbox is we work with people in almost every time zone. The confusing thing about working in the sandbox is that we work with people in almost every time zone. So it's always like, hey, can we have a meeting at 4 p.m.? And it's like, well, you live in Japan and I don't know what time that is for you. It seems like your screen bugged actually, Panda. I'm looking at the restream.
Is it?
It's just showing like the new tab thing.
Is it not showing it?
It's showing it behind the new tab. It's weird.
That is weird.
Is it like that in OBS also?
Can people at least just read?
They can see your URL bar. And they can see the background scrolling on top of Buenos Aires and Paris.
Actually, while they're looking for that, I got a question for you, Tyler.
Let me close it.
So I can see that Sword Quest is in the hub. Are y'all planning on doing it actually in the stages? Like Earth World, Fire World, Water World, or is this going to be like one massive experience?
Great question. I would love some feedback on it. Honestly, we haven't decided. That's one. So we're working on them at a time. So, I mean, I personally think just from you posing that question right there, I would love to see the different environments. I think that's a cool part about the different sword quests.
Yes,
kind of has that Airbender type of feel to it of those.
So
yeah.
that was a trilogy, but it was supposed to be a 4-part series. Any chance that we could get that 4th part as a part of Web3? That we could get that.
It's another great idea. How much do I have to? That's excellent. I'm writing that one down as we speak.
There we go.
So what's happening right now is dreams are coming true.
Yeah.
You're on as a creative for it. You can write this.
Well, Lucas has got a studio, so if you want it built in the sandbox,
Lucas is your man to go to.
That could be an interesting. There could be some interesting Web3 ways we could even build that out. I would love to think of a community build for a game like that. That could be where decisions are made, everything is made. Could even be like a little DAO setup or something for specifically that game.
There we go.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, wow, you're just totally speaking my language left and right.
Yeah, I know DAOs are all about decentralization, but you could be the king of that DAO.
You're being too kind.
So Panda, the whole thing with like the time zones and stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't your browser background. It was mine. My browser just freaked out and was showing multiple tabs at the same time. So everybody else was seeing
the
Medium article except for me.
Okay, because I was getting very confused. I was like, I'm sure it looks fine.
Yeah, no, it was all on my end. I'm sorry. It was showing it overlaid on the video window itself, so it was very confusing for me. But just ignore me. I'm gonna go sulk over here.
Okay, so I can open it.
Yeah, please show. Please.
Yeah, okay.
Let's give the details on the Game Jam so people can participate.
So, Game Jam people, Atari Game Jam. So Sandbox is partnering with Atari for a brand new Game Jam. How many have we had now? Is this our 3rd, 4th one?
Atari Game Jam or Game Jam in general?
Atari Game Jam. Yeah.
This is the second one since I've been here.
Okay. Okay, maybe it is the second one. Maybe I'm just imagining like thousands of game jams.
Lucas
joined
is inceptioning game jam ideas into your head right now for the
I
future.
joined right at the tail end of the first one, and love seeing it. It's awesome.
Right.
So yeah, this one's a cool one. It's mash up some Atari IP. Let's see what you can do. Asteroids and Pong. Who knows?
I'm so excited for this one. Like the fact that we were allowed, the community is not just allowed, but encouraged, and it's a necessity to make the games to use the IP is something that's very different, because usually it's like, okay, we have to stay away from, IP that's not owned by you, and so it limits what the gamers can create as far as the game jam themes are concerned. But that's part of the process, and that's why they do it, is because that does force them to think of things differently. But this is just such an exciting IP to be able to dip into, and to like that mashup, that peanut butter and jelly of Atari with something else is just going to be amazing.
Yeah, thinking of. I mean, I'm not going to name any other. I'm not going to throw shade on any other game companies here, but I can't think of any other game companies that are doing something like this about encouraging people to create a fan build, mashing the things up, which is something so many creative people are like excited to do because they love these IPs. They want to see these sorts of things happen, and a lot of places don't give you that sort of freedom to have something where it's totally encouraged is so refreshing and so like just
refreshing,
exciting for the space.
And that's what we want. Like we're I'll throw this line out probably too much, but we want to make what is old is new again. And as far as what we're building and the creativity, if you look back at what Atari did in early days, is they experimented. They tried weird, random things that by today's standards would be like out there, like really out there. And some of them are favorites, like why would like Millipede, like that's Centipede. Those aren't like characters that you would actually think would be some of the favorites, but they are. And but even just other games as well. Definitely some misses along the way. I won't mention many of those, but we want to bring all that back. Yeah, like build new things, create new experiences and new fun. But also like and some people who may be listening are like, I'm too young for Atari or things like that. And my first console was that I owned was an N64, and so that ages me just out of Atari. But I always knew of the Atari, what it meant in those games, and they would play them in early arcades and really enjoyed them. And to me, even with this role and just being at Atari for going on like 2.5 years now, almost 3 years, is I've had so much fun learning about it and learning about the past and the history in those games, and what the foundation of video games were. That's the early days. It's the Wild West. Steve Jobs was employee number 40, would show up with no hygiene and no shoes, and they gave him the night. And then Nolan Bushnell gave him the night shift at Atari. He invented the role of he invented a night shift. Steve Jobs was the only person working on the night shift, just because his hygiene was so bad.
He loves this story being retold, I'm sure.
Woz actually talks about it a lot, because Woz, he would sneak Woz in. This is where they first started really working together on things, is he would sneak Woz in because he was the only person in Atari. So he would sneak Woz in to do his work for him, make way more, and it was all incentive-based work. There was one story where he made $7,500, and he told Woz that they were each going to get $750 if right, and he gave Woz $750. He pocketed the remaining.
I've heard about that before.
$750, and he kept doing that for his entire life.
Okay, sneaking friends in to work alongside me sounds like totally something I'd do, but at least we split the money fairly.
I'm about to say, Alex, I don't see you cheating anybody out of any funds.
It's not my MO.
Like, all I do in Web3 is just sneak friends into work, even though I work remotely, and it's just everyone I work with a friend in some way, shape, or form. So
yeah.
Just new age.
But no, the game jam, it looks really good. I So for anybody wondering, the link has been put in the chat, so feel free to click the link. But yes,
I'll put it in again.
Thank you. Game makers may use the Atari IP listed below, so you can use the list of IPs down below. I kind of want to see someone do Human Cannibal. While you guys were talking, I was just like Googling it, as well as like Black Widow, and I just want to see, I want to see those. I really do. There's some really cool ones here. Yeah, so use these, make the, as Tyler was saying, like, reimagine it, make it new and new.
Or make it old.
Fresh.
Fresh.
Make it
human
old.
thesaurus here. New and fresh.
Fresh. Somebody, the game that must not be named, somebody put like, no, this game that must not be named. I kind of want to see somebody do that, honestly.
But they can. It's against the rules.
I know, but like as a joke, if somebody has if somebody has like the spare time to basically recreate it, not make it better. I want
a redemption story. Although I.
So that's actually, this brings up a good, one of Lucas's, I think he said Adventure was one of your favorite. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Adventure is famous. It's the end of Ready Player One. Famous nowadays in modern culture because it's the ending of Ready Player One. It's the first discoverable Easter egg in a video game. And so we're bringing all that type of stuff into Web3, into everything we're doing. So there's little Easter eggs everywhere and scattered across everything we do, including in our sandbox land. I know there's stuff that people haven't discovered, plenty actually, in the corners and in weird places that you may not think to run through, and discoverables. And we even have a hotline. Like we understand we're making fun of ourselves as much as possible, so we have a call-in 888 number hotline, and if you know how to find it, it actually will say the coordinates out loud. And then text you the coordinates to where it's buried. The game that shall not be named is buried. We have like that stuff. It's even on our project website, hidden somewhere, and no one's found it yet. So that type of stuff is really everywhere.
Oh, interesting.
All right, time to start digging through the website.
And also 888 Atari 50. You can call it. If US, there's little problems depending on where you are in the world. There's ways around it. If you could just go on our Discord, you could troubleshoot most of it.
I thought you were saying that the phone number was buried somewhere in the website. So,
so
you're saying we get the coordinates and then I have to go drive out to New Mexico and bring a shovel?
We have a real phone number, and we're a Web3 company with a hotline.
That's on the Atari X website, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I've called that. I had like an issue when I called. So yeah, but I definitely saw that. I gave it a ring because I remember doing that when I was a kid, because in the back of my comic books, there would always be ads for Atari things. And I would give those numbers a call, and I can't tell you how many things I ordered out of those. And I was like so excited that something like that was going to happen again. Like I'd be able to order something vintage, and I got a little bit of an error, and I was like, oh, this is probably just an ode to the past. So that's cool. No, I'm going to try to give that a ring again.
Yeah, and there was walkthrough hotlines. Like Atari had one, Nintendo had one. I remember calling Nintendo's when I was stuck. I think it still runs for Nintendo. I could be wrong on that. But basically, if you were stuck on a level, you could call these hotlines and they help you through. So that's part of video game lore. So we have hotlines for various things. Sandbox does have extension. It will be up soon of what it's going to be. Yeah, like we want all our partners to have extensions to be able to do whatever they want with their extension. And
Sam, it's probably my cell, isn't it? I'm just gonna start getting random phone calls again.
It's gonna be now.
Why is Lucas calling me again?
Why does he keep getting stuck on this level?
Right.
I've explained it 20 times.
And like, oh, yeah, we're making fun of ourselves as much as possible. Like, we'll definitely do a fax like access list, or you get a prize if you fax us something, or some reward.
Wait, fax? As in, like, fax? Okay.
I know where I can send a fax to you.
Me, I need to go back in time to when my granddad had one when I was, what, like, 6?
Exactly. I just think it would be hilarious to, like, and fun multiple people to try to find out, one, where you could find a fax machine, and then two, how to send it.
I know two places right now where I can go to send a fax.
I actually have one.
I feel like my
I know 3 places I can go right now.
I feel like my partner's dad would have one because he does not throw anything away. We went through a drawer and he has chargers from, like, literally his first phone back in, like, late 90s. It's like,
why would he throw that away?
Who throws away a phone charger? You never know when you're going to have another phone that uses some random proprietary pin thing.
Well, from, like, the brick BT phone with, like, an area coming out the top. No. But no, that's awesome. I want to see people go fax Atari. That would be brilliant. But
and we'll publish everything. So no inappropriate things.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. That should go without saying.
Yeah.
It should go without saying.
Be respectful, everyone. Don't be rude. We're adults.
There's Atari. You show some respect.
When it prints out that fax, it prints out where it sends from. So watch yourself.
They have that's what they want, guys. They want your address. They are going to track you.
Well, it's the phone number of where it got sent from, but they'll be able to call back and go, hey. If you thought that was bad, just wait. I'm sending you something. Just wait, like 5 minutes.
I feel like we're so gone off topic.
Maybe a little bit. How much time we got left?
We got
3 minutes.
Yeah, we got 3 minutes left. Okay, so where's a good question that I wrote down?
Rapid fire, all the questions.
Yeah, all the questions.
Beans.
Give us beans.
Is proven, I'm very good at answering questions fast. I'm joking.
Okay, right. Well, actually, Lucas sent me most of these questions because he's brilliant. He's already asked like half of them.
Lucas, any questions that Panda's missed?
Oh, wait, what's a common myth about Atari that you would like to dispel? If nothing comes to mind, is there something about your company that you wish everyone knew?
That we don't own Pitfall, but I personally wish we did.
That's a great answer.
Right.
I love it. And if you haven't seen just Google Pitfall Jack Black. And if I had one wish, like I'm adding to that question, if I had one wish, it would just be to get Jack Black to remake that commercial. He's in a commercial when he's a child. And
really?
Yeah, it's great. A Pitfall commercial.
Oh.
That's wonderful.
Maybe we can pool all of our collective resources to get Jack Black to do.
Oh, I would do that.
A Sandbox Atari commercial.
Oh.
The funny thing about it is he basically is doing that with his Jumanji character. Is basically that same character.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. I see it. It's the same outfit and everything.
Right. No, we do have a good real last question. Finally, one last question. Is there anything that you would like to shill? Any news or event that you would like to bring spotlight to? Shine the spotlight down.
As of yesterday, we launched our first in-house project. We love partnering with guys. We love the Sandbox, and we'll be building way more on all the land, everything. But we launched really our first project. It's called 50 Years of Atari. It's a NFT project with our artist named Butcher Billy. The art just was uncovered 45 minutes ago, 50 minutes ago.
It's beautiful.
That's fresh.
2,600 completely unique posters, pretty much. and we're going to be doing really cool activations and really highlighting what blockchain and the technology can do, and actually give value back to those holders and to the community as a whole. Us as a brand, it's people, especially in gaming, don't really know how to feel about the space and blockchain, NFTs for brand coming in. It's really it's on us as a brand to provide to the community, to provide value in whatever that value may be, from gaming experiences to access to rewards, or actually physical merchandise or goods. So
what's the URL where people can check that out?
It's a really cool project. Check it. 888atari50.com. We've did through the website. It's all linked, and then it's on OpenSea, and for one of the first projects, ETH projects on Magic Eden, which is pretty cool.
Awesome.
All right, I just dropped that link in the chat. This is a great looking website, by the way.
It's so beautiful.
And holders of that NFT will get we're raffling. There'll be a competition or a activation. We'll be giving away a good amount of alpha passes for season 3 in the Sandbox.
Ooh. There you go, guys. There's some beans and some fun stuff. Alex has dropped that link in the chat, so make sure to check out their site as well. Thank you so much, Tyler, for being here with us and doing all of this. Hopefully I did well for my first interview, Nurse.
You did excellent.
I pat myself on the back.
Yeah.
I'm glad. This has been great. Hopefully we can have you on at some point in the future as well. And anybody in the chat, don't go anywhere, because as soon as we finish this, Alex and Lucas are actually coming back to do their stream.
We'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yes. So basically a 5-minute intermission where I sign off and they sign on. So thank you, everyone. Everybody wave and say goodbye to the people at home. Lucas, just wave.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
I was waving. It did
He's
not
waving
have the
so
same effect.
enthusiastically, I can feel it.
That's excellent. And everyone have a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the metaverse. I will see you next time. Goodbye.